the energy that you put out is what you're going to get back, period, hands down. Like, that's just it. And from that moment on, I took like the next couple years and just reoriented my life. So the energy that I was putting out was what I was going to get back, because I wanted more, and I wanted love, and I wanted the life that I am now leading. So I had to make the changes.
Welcome back to the You Need a Counselor podcast. This is a show presented by Heart and Solutions Counseling Agency. We release new episodes every Sunday at 5 p.m. Central and encourage you to batch up that laundry, put away the dishes, plan for the week ahead, or do any other task that might seem daunting while you give our show a listen. You might just be encouraged to call your therapist, connect with this week's guest, or seek out those services you've been considering for a while but haven't made the commitment to yet. If you are in the state of Iowa and are in need of mental or behavioral health counseling, give us a call at 1-800-531-4236. Enjoy the show.
Hello, and welcome back to the You Need a Counselor podcast. My name is Dr. Julie Johnson. I'm the president and founder here at Heart and Solutions, Mental Health Counseling and Behavioral Health Counseling in Iowa.
And I'm Chrissa Hunt. I am our vice president in charge of the behavioral health department. And this is our podcast, You Need a Counselor. So we are a podcast designed for people curious about counseling, but have barriers keeping them from experiencing the benefits of counseling. Our mission is to share stories about counseling, good, bad, and indifferent, and spread the message that everyone can benefit from mental health and behavioral health counseling services.
Our guest today is Naomi Kreske. Naomi is a life coach and the founder of Keep Finding You. She helps women who are in survival mode to move out of survival mode into thriving in their lives. Naomi has had a lot of different experiences that have helped shape the coaching that she currently does, including just having the vulnerability to be able to meet people where they are, knowing that we need to be met where we are as well. So welcome, Naomi. Thanks for being here.
I'm so excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So tell us about Keep Finding You and the services that you provide there.
With Keep Finding You, I do one-on-one coaching with women to basically, figure out who they are, what they want, and how to get it out of life. Basically, I help women get their shit together.
So can you kind of go through like what a life coaching session's like for those listening who have never done life coaching before?
So life coaching, I do 60-minute, either in-person or virtual sessions. And people kind of think that it's similar to therapy or counseling. And in a way it is, because we do want to dig down to the root of what you want to accomplish in life. A lot about life coaching is creating the actions to move you forward. So it's creating a plan, creating goals, using tools like the Wheel of Life or manifestation and, things like that. So it's very action oriented.
Now, your bio says that you are a longtime writer of what you call the Hot Mess Express. And I love that because we had a guest on one time who also said, I'm trying to get my poop in a group. And I just thought that was
wow.
Because as helpers, we have to be able to, we say, oh, we got to get our shit together. We got to get our poop in a group. And I always think, what a great example that always is when we see helpers in their field doing that role modeling, being able to say, okay, I'm a helper and I'm not a perfect human. And so the challenges that we're helping others with, we also experience ourselves. So what does that mean to you in terms of that Hot Mess Express? How do we know we're riding it?
So having been on the Hot Mess Express is the whole reason why I'm doing what I'm doing right now. It was the catalyst to my journey, and it has created the passion that I now have to help women get off the Hot Mess Express. And a lot of the Hot Mess Express is, being emotionally unavailable, being stuck in survival mode, honestly, usually not knowing you're stuck in survival mode, stuck in overwhelm, constantly having to hustle and grind and feeling like you're forcing life into, round, what is it? Square hole, round peg, or what? That's a movie reference. I can't remember, but it's just that feeling of knowing that there's more out there for you for life and just not knowing how to get it. So that for me is riding the Hot Mess Express. And I did that probably for 10 or 12 years, a lot longer than I wish I had, but that's exactly why I'm doing what I'm doing now, because I want people to be able to not have to ride the Hot Mess Express for 10 to 12 years like I did.
Definitely. Can you kind of go over, like, I know you said like you were in that mode and that's kind of why you do what you do now. Like what is your past experiences? I know you did counseling before too. What kind of led you to or realize you were living the Hot Mess Express and kind of move from that and now be a life coach yourself?
So my aha moment came from a book. I love to learn. So, and especially when I was on the Hot Mess Express and wanting to have more in my life, I was like, okay, let me read all the self-help books I can. Let me listen to the podcast. Let me take the courses. And I was doing like the work, but it still wasn't connecting. Like there was something that was missing. So that missing piece for me came in a book where the author was retelling a story that a conversation that she had with her mother. And her mother was telling her that, you want to find love, because the book was about love. And at the time I was divorced. And I still wanted to find love. And she was talking with her mom about how she wants to find love, but her mom was like, well, you want Prince Charming to come into your life, but you still go out and you party and you drink too much and you stay up way too late and you're always hungover. And how do you expect Prince Charming to come into your life when that's how you're being? And I was like, that is my life. I was like, holy shit. Like, that is the law of attraction. And that's what she was trying to illustrate with that story. It's like the energy that you put out is what you're going to get back. Period. Hands down. Like that's just it. And from that moment on, I took like the next couple years and just reoriented my life. So the energy that I was putting out was what I was going to get back, because I wanted more and I wanted love and I wanted the life that I am now leading. So I had to make the changes.
So it sounds like being able to identify that discrepancy between what we want or what we think that we want or are aiming towards and maybe the actions that we are taking in our lives, and if those are aligned or not. How do you balance then the two sides of not getting into performative change in order to get to an outcome versus, being able to stay authentic with who we are? So sometimes we get in that discrepancy and we say, okay, yes, there is a discrepancy between these two things. Maybe, culturally, historically, doing these things are what's going to help me have a stable relationship. And maybe culturally, historically, these things aren't. But how do we make those adjustments without getting into performative changes to try to get an outcome? How do we stay authentic in that? Because, when we want a partner in life, we want somebody who is going to be our partner to our genuine, authentic self. And we don't want a partner who's attracted to actions or behaviors that we're doing short term, but that aren't actually us.
Yeah. So for any change in life, like the first step is self-awareness. And I feel like that is the key to almost everything, because to not perform and, do the shoulds, like what I should do, and, you end up shoulding all over yourself. You have to really know who you are. and what you want. And that is bigger than we give it credit for, because it takes a lot of introspection and self-reflection to really, really understand who you are at your core and what you want. So like figuring out what those things are and then being brave enough to own it and put it out there, that's really gonna get you that solid energy that you can put out in your life.
And I know you mentioned, like, when we first started talking about like what a life coaching session might look like it starts with like kind of digging into like why they're coming to coaching. What if people have no idea, and like what if they don't know what they want out of life, and how do you help them kind of figure that out when they first reach out to you?
Yeah, I mean, that's honestly, that's what most people are. Like, they know they're stuck, but they don't know why. So, you know, one of the tools that I like to use is the Wheel of Life. It was a tool that I was taught in my life coaching certification program. And it's, you know, dividing your life into 8 different categories, and you can score it on like where you are and then where you want to be. And, you know, you have to be a little realistic. You know, we can't have 10s in all areas of our life, but it divides it into, you know, health and career and finances and love and family. I can't remember all 8, but it's a cool way to be able to diagnose your life and give you kind of an idea of where you want to start. But in general, it's just having that neutral mirror. Like, I am that neutral person. Like, I don't know who you are, and I'm going to ask questions that other people probably won't ask you. And I'm going to ask them in a way that's going to continue to dig deeper and deeper. You know, why? Why is it that way? Why do you want that way? Why? You know, it's a simple question, but it makes you really think. So I'm that neutral person that is going to ask really intentional and deep questions to get you thinking about things that you normally wouldn't think about, or you may not want to think about, you know?
Yeah, that Wheel of Life is really nice because it's basically a life budget. We have only a certain amount of energy as humans. We have only a certain amount of waking hours, and we have only a certain amount of attention that we're able to give to the various aspects of our lives. And so the Wheel of Life allows us to look at the whole and say, no, there's a limit on each of these things. I can't be at 100% in my financial life and my parenting life and my partnering life all the time. There has to be, just like a budget, right? If I say, well, how much do I want to spend on groceries? Well, this much. Well, how much do I want to spend on this other stuff, right? Well, this much. But when we start with, no, this is how much we have to dedicate to these things, then it does allow us to say, okay, yeah, I do need to make some choices and prioritize some things, because I can't set myself up for an expectation that as a human being I can't meet, which is being at 100% in all areas of life all the time. You said that there were you had talked about the law of attraction. I'm just interested in hearing from you. You know, what is it that you believe makes the law of attraction work?
The law of attraction is the foundation for manifestation. They go kind of hand in hand, because, you know, what you're putting out is, you know, what you're going to get back in life. So making sure that your energy is in the right place is going to work hand in hand with manifestation. And as far as, you know, building and creating, co-creating with the universe or God or spirit, whatever your higher power is very important. So I love to talk about the 3 principles that I like to use for manifestation. And the first core principle is awareness, which we've already talked about. So developing that awareness and clarity as like what you want and what you're going to put out in the universe for your goals and your manifestations is super important. And then the next step is creating a vessel that can hold your manifestations. So being able to receive what the universe wants to give you is very important, because a lot of us, we want the love, we want the house, we want the money, but if we aren't whole or healed or emotionally available to hold all those things, then we're not going to be able to keep it. Like, we might get love for a second, but we might end up self-sabotaging it, or making a mistake because we don't feel worthy enough to actually have it. So being the vessel that can hold the manifestations is the next step, and very important. And then the last one, which is one that I put a lot of work on in 2025, is not an easy one, but it's having faith and letting go. I know it's like a paradox, but it's essential to just have faith in your higher power, that once you've figured out what you want, you are energetically matched for it. You have to relax and let go and allow the universe or God to deliver it in a way that is of your highest and greatest need. So it's a very cool process, and I love it.
I'm curious how you went. Okay, so I feel like when you read the book, that was kind of like your awareness moment. Like, okay, that's me, that's what I need to change. How did you then go to like learn to start accepting that love and changing and meeting those second two steps that you talked about?
Oh, that was really hard. So after I had the aha moment, the first thing that I had to focus on was kind of recreating my environment. So the people I was hanging out with, the places I was going, the things that I was thinking. So person, place, and things, like those were what I really had to start editing. So, I edited the people that were in my life. No more douchebags, and lots of friends that I'm not friends with anymore. I have switched careers. There are certain places that I don't go to anymore because, they're toxic. And then I had to change my internal monologue, like how I was thinking about my life. Mindset is essential to like everything. So those were the first steps that I took to get off the hot mess express. But it just took being brave, and it took being vulnerable, because all of this was new and scary. And you have to like rip off the Band-Aid and just go for it and put yourself out there in ways that you are not used to. But the more you do it, the more you become used to it, and the more your brain accepts that it is safe, because our brain, it's fight, flight, or freeze all the time. Good old neuroscience. But once you repeat things, they become safe, and then you're in flow, and you're in this new life, and you're just like, holy shit, how did I get here? And you're like, I love it.
Absolutely. There's a fear of disappointment and of rejection that a lot of times blocks that ability to ask for the things that we want, or to even put name to the things that we want, or to put in the energy, the start energy that it takes to build the net for the things that we want. And so when we're able to let go of those blockages there, that say, oh, okay, don't put your energy into wanting that thing, because you might not get that thing, right? That's a blockage. And when we're able to remove that, then we can say, no, build it and they will come, and we're going to build it. We're going to put in the energy for it, because maybe this first iteration doesn't work, but the fourth iteration of this does work, right? We keep doing it, and it takes that start energy and that maintenance energy to be able to keep going. And I think that is where the belief comes in, ask, believe, receive. That belief part needs to be there in order for us to be able to continue forward when we do have those setbacks, when we do have disappointments. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's that faith. And when, rejection happens, you have to, rejection is redirection. It's for a reason. And I know I hated that when my life fell apart. I don't want to hear that everything's happening for a reason, but it's so true.
Absolutely. So you have had some personal experiences with counseling as well. Can you tell us about those?
So my very first experiences with counseling weren't my own. With my ex-husband, he had some mental struggles and he went to counseling for them. He was not very good at it. Not that there's, and I really shouldn't say that. There isn't like a good or a bad, but you have to do the work. You can't just go to counseling and expect you to magically be better. There's work that you have to do on your side. And he was not open to putting in the work. But so I saw him go through many different counselors, and sometimes I would go with him as his wife at the time. And I enjoy the process, having that person there too that isn't going to judge you and wants to help you is amazing. They're the person that you can tell every little dark secret to, and it's okay. And then when our marriage did fall apart, I did go to counseling. I had a counselor for 7 years. So 7 years of the Hot Mess Express, I had a counselor. She was okay. I had better counselors. She was basically just a sounding board. She just let me vent. And where I can appreciate that, I wish that she had pushed me a little bit more. But maybe that wasn't in her wheelhouse. And I don't know, maybe I wouldn't have been receptive to it at the time. You never know. And then recently, I've been seeing a therapist again. Before I made this big pivot in my life, I knew that I wanted to support myself. It sort of coincided with another personal event, but so the timing just was right. And I've been seeing a counselor now for almost August will be 3 years. So I see her monthly now. It would start off weekly, then went bi-weekly, and now we're monthly. So I love having that support person in my pocket. Not that I feel like I overly need it right now, but she's there just in case. And you never know what comes up in a session. Sometimes I'm crying and sometimes I'm not. So it's great. I love it. I love having that resource. I feel like everybody should at least like once a quarter have somebody that you can just tell all your shit to. Get it out.
Yeah, absolutely. What do you think kept you trying to find a different counselor and coming back to counseling through having some not so great experiences at the beginning to like still trying to get your own counselor after you got divorced and now you still have another counselor after that? Why do you think you kept trying?
Because I trusted the process. Like I know that it's a process that works. And that's the thing in general. Like you might not connect with your counselor right off the bat because it's a connection. It's a relationship. You have to trust them with, your deepest, darkest secrets. And if the connection's not there, then you got to look again, somebody out there will be the person that will connect. And I've been very fortunate this last time. This was an excellent connection. So I'm very appreciative of my current counselor.
And you said that you've also been to couples counseling as well and kind of started that again. Can you tell us a little bit about the difference for you and your experience between couples counseling and the individual counseling that you're doing?
The couples counseling I have a lot of kudos for couples counselors in general, because being able to stay in that gray area and not pick a side is kudos to them. I don't know, like for me, for a year with my ex-husband, we went to counseling to try to, not get divorced. Um, I did not enjoy that counseling session because it always ended up being a session for him because he was the one who really needed the session. And it just, I wanted her to be on my side, and that's not really like what couples counseling is for. So I'm not sure that I've ever really had like a good experience with couples counseling, but that's not to say that it was the counselor. It was us, and the lack of work that my ex-husband wanted to actually put in on himself. But yeah, no, I have a lot of respect for couples counselors to be able to stay partial for two people at the same time who are struggling and don't like each other.
Well, yeah. And I think everyone probably thinks that like, oh, I want them to be on my side. And like you said,
Right.
that's not what couples counseling is, but that's hard to be like, I know I'm right and they're not listening to me or whatever.
Exactly.
So I think it's good that you guys both were in separate counseling at the same time too. Or you've since gone to separate counseling too, because I think that is definitely harder. And I think people do expect that when they go into couples counseling, like to pick a side, and it's definitely hard to not, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Can you kind of talk about the difference from your therapy sessions to what life coaching is like? I know you talked about they're similar of trying to like dig deep and figure out what their like goals are, but what are the differences then of counseling versus life coaching?
So yeah, counseling is, in my experience, counseling is more about resolving the past and digging into your big T traumas, your little T traumas, and really sort of working on, your vessel, who you are, and healing. So counseling is a lot about healing, and life coaching is more about a little bit of, figuring those moments, but then taking it and building on it. So we're building a future with life coaching. Not to say that counseling isn't future oriented also, but life coaching is very action oriented. Like we're going to build a plan. We're going to create some goals. We're going to do a vision board. Like we're going to be very action oriented and creating a plan and, those kinds of things.
Yeah, absolutely. Therapy really foundational. And when you talk about healing, imagery I have often for therapy is, building the foundation of a house, where if that foundation isn't strong or has cracks or still has holes or isn't leveled correctly, then we can't build a house on that foundation. And so, if life coaching is, hey, how do I want my home to be? Therapy is, how do I build a foundation for my life and for my home, and how do I repair the things and heal the things that are getting in the way of that? Because if I build a house on a unstable foundation, that house is going to come down, or there are going to be cracks in that house. And so I like the differential. And do you refer to therapy as well in your practice?
I haven't had an opportunity to refer yet, but my one client on her own, about halfway through our sessions, she got a therapist also. So she saw the need to seek out a therapist to have alongside coaching. I feel like they can go hand in hand very well.
Yeah, absolutely. And is life coaching just virtual? Do you do in-person life coaching as well? I think you mentioned at the beginning, but
I do in-person and virtual. I'm an in-person kind of person in general. Like when I was seeking out a therapist for myself, I had to look hard for an in-person option. There's not a lot of in-person options right now, but I love that in-person thing. But we are in a digital world, so I will do both.
Yeah. Can you tell us a little bit about your experience with in-person versus telehealth or doing those sessions virtually? What's that experience like for you?
I feel like there's just this dynamic or energy that is different when it's in person. If they're crying, I can hand them the tissue, or just the energy of the conversation is different because, when you're having a conversation in real life, there's this sense of talking over each other isn't there. Like with virtually, you have to be very cautious of not talking over each other. I don't know why, but that's the feeling that I get. But I mean, it still works. I've had many virtual clients, and it still is impactful. And you do what you do.
I know you mentioned your clients are women. Is there a difference you think between women and men struggling to get their shit together? Or like, what are the specific issues that maybe like women clients that you have maybe struggle with that men don't?
So the reason why I work with women is mostly because of my lived experience. I can relate to women obviously better because of my experience. So that was just a choice that I made so I could give the best care. I'm sure that men and women have very similar getting their shit together challenges. But I just chose to work with women from an expertise level. So I didn't feel less than, I guess.
So your website also has, on your website, we can find information about doing that one-on-one coaching with you, but you also have a get started kind of quiz. And I know it's not an overwhelming quiz, which is nice because sometimes the idea of doing a quiz is in itself overwhelming. Can you tell us a little bit about that quiz and what somebody can expect taking it?
Yeah, so because I work with women to get their shit together, I developed a quiz sort of along that same line. What is your style? How do you get your shit together? So it's an opportunity for women to sort of confirm maybe what they already know, but then I give them a few more insights in their results to sort of point them further down the path of themselves, so it's supportive to who they already are, because I'm not trying to tell them who they aren't and change them, just give them supportive suggestions to who they already are. So there's only 4 results, and it's fun. It's 10 questions. It's light and it's easy to take. So
Sorry, I was looking at the quiz and got distracted. There's also a get out of your way guide on your website as well. Can you let us know what that is and give us an insight into that?
Yeah, that was exactly my process of getting out of my own way and getting off the hot mess express. It was, 3 brave questions that I asked myself, and then the tools that I specifically used to get out of my own way, because I was in my own way. And it's very easy to be the victim and think, life is happening to you. But, life is happening for you, and you have to own that and get out of your own damn way. So it's a quick little guide, and it's not too heavy, but it does have some very impactful suggestions that are easy to implement into your life. Because don't get me wrong, I love an amazingly inspirational speaker, but then a lot of times at the end, I'm like, well, how do I apply that to my life? What do I do with that? I'm inspired, but what do I do? So I created this guide to, bring that inspiration down to earth and allow women to get out of their own way.
Yeah, the idea of being able to know ourselves, that can be a very, very vulnerable thing to do. That can be kind of a daunting task to try to say, okay, well, maybe, and especially as women, right? There's a lot of conditioning that happens in society that tells us, don't be who you are.
Right.
Don't act the way you want, right? Like make your face look right. You know what I mean? Just all of the little things that we do that we're conditioned to do and perform, and all of the natural instincts that we have that we're taught from such a young age to suppress, right? Like, nope, it's not time to eat a snack right now. It's time for coloring right now, right? It's not time to feel sad right now, right? It's time to get your shoes on and go to school right now. And so all of those signals within ourselves that we're kind of conditioned, and not just women, but humans in general, that need to be places when they need to go places and things like that. We need to get things done because we're in such a outcome-based society where there's so much focus on productivity and the creating things or getting things done. Yeah, you had mentioned it in the beginning, that hustle feeling, right, of having to kind of force the hustle when maybe we're not feeling that way. It seems like some of your questions have to do with how do we cope with things when we are feeling overwhelmed. So what are some other techniques that somebody can expect when they're doing the one-on-one coaching? What are some of the activities or thought work that you might have a client do?
So I am very big on journaling. I also on my website is a daily journaling worksheet or guide. I love journaling, and I haven't always been good at it because it feels like a task. Like sometimes it can feel like something I'm supposed to do, but that's definitely not when it's going to work, so having something feel a part of your daily ritual is very important. But journaling is one of those ways to get those thoughts out of here and into here, because this is where we need to lead from your heart, because that's where I'm pointing from. So from your brain to your heart, and it's, a non-judgmental space. It's your own notebook. You don't have to perform for anybody. You don't have to lie, or, you should be writing in a certain sort of way. So I love journaling. I also love meditation, which is another thing that people are intimidated by, because how do you sit there and be quiet and not have a thought? But that is a completely unrealistic expectation. I meditate quite often, and I always catch myself thinking about something that I'm not supposed to. And, even the gurus, I'm sure, do. So it's just about quieting the mind. Whether you have to pull yourself back into quiet once or twice or 20 times, that's okay, as long as you're doing it, And when you get quiet in your mind, you can start to hear your own self. You get to hear your own voice, not the societal constructs voice or the outside noise or what your mom thinks or what your dad thinks or what your husband thinks. You get to hear your own voice. And that is something for me that has been very important recently, because I want to listen to my own intuition on who I need to be and what I want. And I feel like that is part of the process in becoming, your best self, is listening to yourself. So meditating and journaling are huge tools that I love to use.
How does somebody get started with meditation? Because I agree. I feel like we always hear that, like, it needs to be quiet and you're not supposed to be thinking about anything. And then you then start thinking about, like, oh, I have an itch here or something. And
right.
You just keep quiet and not think about something. So how did you get into that? And how can somebody kind of start like a little meditation just to clear?
So that's a great question, because I, for many years, have done guided meditations. So you can go onto like YouTube and just, search for guided meditation. And there's thousands of them out there. And it's somebody that just guides you through the process, usually with some calming voice and calming music. And it is a perfect way to start. I still use guided meditations 9 times out of 10. And every once in a while, I just want silence, or I just want the music so I can just hear my own voice. But more often than not, I need the guided meditation, because most of them will work you through like a calming ritual. Like, you relax the muscles in your face, and you relax the muscle in your jaw, and then you relax, and you slowly relax throughout your whole body. And that is a meditative practice in itself, learning how to relax your whole body. So a guided meditation is the best way to start.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a ability to say, okay, I as somebody who's starting out and so says, I need to do something, right? There's that paradox of like, well, I need to meditate. Okay, what do I do? And so the idea of not doing
Right.
is very challenging. And so the guided meditation allows us to say, yep, nope, this is the next thing to do. This is an
Right.
action that I
Yeah.
can take. And it gets us comfortable with the idea of laying down on the floor or on our bed and closing our eyes, right? It gets us comfortable with the idea that that thoughts are going to come into our head, and that they're okay to be there, and that we can acknowledge that those are thoughts. And so it's a great place to start. And you can look up different ones based on how you're feeling. So,
Yeah.
you can do it's the afternoon and I'm tired 5-minute one. Those ones are great. And so based on what you're trying to focus on, or what you're trying to allow into your day, you can kind of search for those specific to that too, which is great. And just getting comfortable laying down and closing your eyes, right, and not having it be bedtime is there's so many things that come up with that. There are so many societal norms that would say don't do that, right? Like, don't say, like, who are you to take a nap in the afternoon, right? Those kinds of things. And when we've got a again, productivity mindset or a caretaking mindset, which a lot of women are again trained to have, we're culturized to have that caretaking mindset. It doesn't always allow for actions like lay down, close your eyes, right? Listen to this thing, allow your thoughts to be. So, and that's a wonderful example. I keep coming back to what you talked about in terms of creating the vessels to hold your manifestations, right? The creating like I always think of net, but like the basket, the thing that can hold the things that we're looking for. And I keep coming back to that. I just want to ask you, what else? Can you talk more about that? Can you tell us more about that?
So the vessel is you, healing your traumas, healing your mindset, or shifting your mindset. It's about being open to receive. And I think I said this word earlier about worthiness, and that's a big one. I feel like, society kind of is constantly grinding us to be one way or another. But so we always struggle with, am I worthy? Am I good enough? Am I too old, too fat, too thin, too tall? Like, am I worthy? Have I worked hard enough for what I want? Which is not, we are born worthy. So it takes going back to that foundation again of the house. We were born worthy. So let's go back to that worthiness, and let's build from that. So building the vessel is very challenging, to really sort of look at yourself and love yourself and be worthy of the things that you want in your life, because we are born that way. And somehow along the line, society beats it out of us. And so being able to go back to that sense of worthiness and love is a very hard thing to do, but it's worth it, obviously. to have all the things we want in our lives.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, if you could give a suggestion to somebody who is listening and might be on the fence about either starting counseling or starting life coaching, what suggestion might you give them?
Just do it. No, I won't take from Nike's slogan. It is scary to look at yourself in the mirror. But if you want more, it's not about doing more, it's about being more. So choose the things that are going to help you be more. And that is exactly what every mental health profession is there for, to help you be more. And there's a lot of love and a lot of care there. So rip off the Band-Aid, be brave, be vulnerable, and just do it.
Wonderful. Yeah, I like that. It's not about doing more, right? It's really about clearing away. It's archaeology. It's clearing away all of the things that have been piled on top of our sense of worthiness, and clearing those away to get back to the way that we are supposed to be, made to be.
Yep.
So wonderful. Naomi can be found at keepfindingyou.com and also on Instagram at keepfindingyou with the letter U. And the quiz can be found there. The way to start one-on-one coaching can be found there, and the guide can be found there as well. So lots of really great resources for anybody curious about coaching and wanting to start that, especially with somebody who has been through, these counseling processes and come out the other side wanting to help others. So thank you so much for being here, Naomi. It's been great.
Thank you for having me. It's been a great conversation. I'm Naomi Kreske, and I need a counselor.
And I'm Chrissa Hunt.
And I'm Julie Johnson, and we need a counselor.
And so do you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to the You Need a Counselor podcast. We are so grateful that you're here. You can also find and connect with You Need a Counselor on Facebook and Instagram. If you've enjoyed today's show, please take a moment to like, review, or leave a comment, as all of these things help others to find and benefit from the podcast as well. If you're in the state of Iowa and interested in mental health counseling or behavioral health intervention services, give us a call at 800-531-4236.